Hello everybody, today I'm going to teach you how to animate on the animation engine or studio or whatever you would like to call it, Flip-a-Clip. So here I'm going to teach you the basics of what you need to know to start animating, but I should let you know that some of the methods I use to animate are different from other people's. And if you already do know animation and are just coming here to clarify something, then you can stick to whatever you're doing. I'm just saying this is how I do it, and this is what I think is the best way, because I see a lot of people doing different ways, and when I look at it, it's kind of stupid. But if you do have another way and you would like to watch this, then maybe you can switch to my way and see what you like better. But so when you create a new Flip-a-Clip project, you will have to put a name relating to what your animation is going to be. It can be just a placeholder for now, which you can change later once you upload it or something, or you can always change the name. It is possible. So you will just have to place a name, and because I'm trying to teach you about Flip-a-Clip, I will put teaching Flip-a-Clip. Alright, so let's see. Done. So, the FPS will be whatever you decide. You can choose it. But if you're new to it, then 12 FPS might be good for you. If you're not new to it, then you can use whatever FPS you are used to, because the FPS is more difficult to control with a frame rate you're not used to. So, it's more challenging to animate if the FPS is in a category you're not used to, basically. So, you could just go ahead with the default FPS of 12, which, works good. It makes it look a little unrealistic, but it still does look good. And, it's hard to really, make the mouth shape to lip sync voice acting in the animation on 12 FPS, but it is possible. It just takes a little bit of training. So, after you're done with this, you can press create project, which just says save changes, because I tried recording before, but it stopped. So, save changes or create project, and it should be project uploaded. So, we have a couple things to talk about. You can add all of these layers. Keep in mind, if you have not purchased the other 7 layers, you will only be able to get 3. So, let's learn about the basic things before I start teaching you the type of animation I like to use, which is called cell animation. It's the good actual type of animation they used to use back in the days, where they took a regular piece of white paper, drew something on it like a background, and then they used a clear type of paper called tracing paper to put on top of the regular paper, so you can have a background and then trace over with another character, and so you can have a background with a moving character. So, first we have the pen. You can change the pen color by clicking on this little black square right here to be whatever you want. The default mode is down here in the corner, this black thing right here, and it will be on the red section. And you can put whatever color you want. It could be orange, you can go darker to make brown, and then black. You can do all of this. It can be like dark gray mixed in with brown, so brownish dark gray. You can go way to the wall to just make regular dark gray or light dark gray or very, very light gray or even white. You can do whatever you want here. You can circle throughout this thing with this white little bar to choose the shade of color you want, from red to yellow to blue and all the in-betweens. So you can change the thickness of pixels in the pen to be small or very, very large by toggling around with the little circle in there. Alright. The default, I think it's either 6 or 7. I like to use both sometimes. And the last thing in the pen setting is the different kind of drawing objects you can use. You can switch to the highlighter to make things translucent. So let's say you want to make the image darker. I can go to like black and make the whole image darker, which basically changes everything. So let's say I have just a red line here. So I'm just gonna come here and it makes everything darker so it can look like everything is in the shadows. Or you can use the translucency for something else. Hold on, let me just undo the pen, turn the pen back to black, and we should be on our way. You can change it to like a gray to make like a ghost or something. You can draw on it so it can really be a ghost. And yeah. So, to do more stuff, I will need to make a background just to be there. So, next we have the onion. I mean, not the onion, the lasso. I keep confusing those two. The lasso helps you move an object you drew to another section of the page. So, if you take the lasso, do that, not only does it help you change where it is in the page, like this, it also helps you change the size. But let me show you how it basically works. So we have that, and if I lasso this second thing, it can move in the animation. So it's kind of like going like that. Alright, so next setting we have is the fill bucket. Some people just like to call it fill, others just like to call it bucket, but the proper name is fill bucket. So it basically fills any object with a full line of pen around it with a solid fill of color. Keep in mind, if you do this with something that even is really close but doesn't have a complete fill, it will leak out of it. So you need to completely close it off in pen in order for that to work. Alright, so the last thing in the settings. Alright, there's still more things there is to talk about with the pen. Wait, no there isn't. We can talk about the eraser. When it starts off, it's like this. The eraser can be in a sort of faded position. You can change how the eraser size, like this. So there it kind of looks faded. You can change it with this orb right here. That's the default way, but you can change it like that so it kind of erases everything. And here it slightly erases it, slightly not. Kind of like how if you write something on paper with a pencil, you can erase it all you want, but it's still gonna leave a slight little line. So here you go, you see? It erases it, but not completely. This is helpful with a lot of things, actually. But unfortunately, it will phase through it because it's not a solid line. I guess that's really everything there is to know about the eraser. The last thing we have here is the text. Type in anything you want and it will appear there. So just type and it's there. It starts off with an onion already around it, so you can move it wherever you want. And change the size, you can stretch it out, and all that kind of stuff. So that's the basics of that stuff. The eraser can be useful for slight errors that you want to fix without erasing the whole thing, because if I take out the pen right here and circle around this, that little thing right there, if you tap on it, it will erase the entire thing. But what if you don't want to erase the whole thing, you just want to erase the little error you made? Then you can take the eraser, which will do exactly that. It will erase only the errors unless you move past the errors. So I hope that was helpful to you. And the other thing up here that you can toggle around with is the ruler. The ruler helps you make perfect lines with whatever you are doing. Like that. And it can also be changed. So it can have a circle effect. It can have a square effect. Hold on. Square, that's more of a rectangle, but who cares? Yeah, I can do stuff like that. Alright, so now I guess it is time to start learning about the process of animation. Here we have all these different frames. None of the frames are connected to each other, unless you overlap a frame like this in which you can merge it. So if I fill in the background here to be like a nice little field, then we can have something moving up here. This is where the lasso, this is where the lasso can come in handy. Let's say we have this little ball right here. It can move separately. It can move separately with the whole thing. It doesn't move with anything, so you can overlap it. But if it were on the same frame as the first frame, everything will move around it, including the fill color. So let me do that. Fill it in and such. By the way, if there's a line, it won't move past that line. And let me lasso around this. It's on the same frame, so everything is connected. It will move everything. So that's why it's important to remember, if you want an object to be moving, make sure it is on a different frame. So this is kind of where I was talking about the paper with the clear paper. The clear paper would be on top of the regular paper to kind of move things around to keep the background consistent, but so you can have a different way to move things, kind of like this. Like that. Another useful way to do this is, like I said, with the lasso. If you just take the lasso, let me copy paste that page actually first. Take the lasso, you can move it to make an animation without having to draw it all over again. So you can do that. That's basically how cell animation works. It's an object on top of a background. So if I wanted to kind of make let's say a person, which, by the way, this will give you a little bit of how the pencil works. I could take the pencil, which is basically just to make a rough sketch of everything. Let's just do that. We have little person here. No, not that little, but pretty little person who can do that. We just have a person, I guess. It's just to make a rough sketch, and if I come on to the frame above it with the pen, I can write everything without having to trace all the lines and erase the frame underneath. It was 6, frick. Okay, it's 6. The default line is 6, not 7. Anyways, it's 6. Just do that. Now you can trace everything on the top. It's another thing what the layers are used for, which is this stuff. Alright, so if I could just do that. I don't usually do sketches, I just draw it all in one piece in my mind. I would obviously sometimes do that, but not usually. Right, so we have a person just made there. We can come underneath to this frame and do that. Alright, so now we have this nice little person. If you want to look for the color peach or sand, peach is light yellow, sand is light orange. Typically, the color I like to use for skin is light orange or sand. But you can use peach. You can use whatever you want. If you want, you can use peach as your skin color. Alright, so there. I made a little freaking error right here. Right, just gonna do that. Right, so I can fill that as well, and his shirt is gonna be blue. Wait, no. His pants are gonna be blue, and his shirt's gonna be red. So we can do that. And if you want, you can make the legs in a different frame so it can move along. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take the long and hard way because I screwed up and I didn't do that. So I'm just gonna erase the legs and make them something different. Of which this is where the onion, the actual onion, comes into play. Not the lasso, the onion. The onion lets you see what you had on the previous frame. So now I can make the leg go like this while seeing what the previous frame looked like to help me a little bit. So if I just do that, I can do that. Alright. It's non-blue anymore. So I'm going to come here and take some blue. Alright. Alright, it's filled in. So we have this model for a person walking. Now we can actually start to make him walk with the onion. Like that. And then we can copy paste this frame, delete the extra frame, and then just paste. Do not press copy or else it will copy this frame instead of the previous frame. So now we have the frame of the person standing still, which will be the second course in the walk animation. So it kind of looks like this. And then we copy paste this second frame to do that. You can keep doing this repetitively until you get a nice little animation of a person walking. And if you want, if you want, you can come onto a frame above the person and draw a mouth, an open mouth. So we can have an open mouth like that. And then let me erase all the other frames. Delete all the other frames. And there, we have this thing of a person like that, and then we can erase that with the mouth and everything still perfectly fine to make another mouth thing. This is to lip sync, basically. This is talking, I guess. And in order to add speech to lip sync into the thing, in order for you to voice act, you just come in to the little music note right here, the sound settings, basically. There's a bunch of tracks for sound in case you need to add multiple, and you just come here. You say anything into the thing, basically, and it'll come out like that. So, I'm just gonna say, hey, how are you? No, I'm just gonna say, this is how you animate unflip a clip. Oh, frick. Okay, I guess you cannot do that while the thing is recording. So, I'm gonna have to turn that off for a minute. Yeah, no, pausing doesn't work. But this is basically how it works. You press this, it records your audio, and then it has this little square where you review it. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna stop it so I can show you. Alright, so this is how it happens. Once you're done, it loads into this screen right here. It's a square where you can review it. If I just do that. Yeah, so all of that does that. And you can either discard it, or you can press check and then put it right in there. So if you don't have enough frames, it will just go blank, of which you can add the frames to do this. Also, I realized that the speech is a little long, so guess what you can do? You can click on this and shorten the speech. You can also double tap on it to copy paste it or cut it or throw it away and all that stuff like that. You can tap and hold to drag it across the thing. So you can put it right there. Anyway, after a while of copying, pasting, and doing stuff like that, I'm finally almost done with the audio track. Once the audio finishes around right there, I'm going to erase all of the mouth movements and right here. So if I just do that, erase that, it should be like that. So we finally have the finished project. Yeah, so that's basically the basics. You have a bunch of different frames. You can fill in colors. And you can copy paste frames. You can add audio, and that's the basics. If you like, I'll show you something else I've made. It's this one. It's an early model.